The views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, you're encouraged to like and share them on Facebook and other social media. It's time for the Sue Ellen Sanders Show. So let's get started. Here's Sue Ellen Sanders.
Welcome to the Sue Ellen Sanders Show, and I'm so glad you're here today. We have an old friend, not old in the sense that she is old, but old in the sense that I've known her for a long time, with us today, and a new friend. So I'm excited to have Melanie Wiles from the Boys and Girls Club here with us, and we're going to be talking about some of their programs and a special, very, very special event, kind of a day of special events that is coming up soon in honor of the Boys and Girls Club of St. Lucie County's 25th anniversary. That's pretty amazing. And also with us today is Sarah Alsofrom, and she is the Director of Community Relations with GL Homes. And Sarah has traveled from several counties away to join us today, and we really appreciate her being here. And following Sarah a little bit later in the show, we'll hear from Dawn Krupp, who is the special events manager for the Boys and Girls Club. But the reason that Sarah is here today is because GL Homes is one of the largest donors for Boys and Girls Club of St. Lucie County. And it's kind of funny because when I heard I had a guest that was here from West Palm, I was like racking my brains. I'm like, did I run into somebody somewhere at a party and invite them to be in the show? Because I usually have people who are from the Treasure Coast. And so, Sarah, thank you very much for taking the time to come up here.
It is my pleasure. Thank you for having me, Sue Ellen. Excited to be here.
Melanie, why don't you start us off? Because what we have coming around the corner in April, at the end of April, is something that's very special. And I just knew the Boys and Girls Club was going to do something that just knocked it out of the ballpark for their 25th anniversary, and they are.
Thank you so much, Sue Ellen. We're so excited to share where we've come from in this community and how we've been able to best serve the children here and really celebrate that with the community.
And where you're going.
Yes, and where we're going to go, absolutely. We're going to be focusing on our growth from starting with one club here in St. Lucie County in Fort Pierce, and now we've grown to over 20 clubs. And we're serving over 4,700 children as club members and additional thousands with our specialized programs. And how proud we are of that, how appreciative we are of all of our partners such as GL Homes that have invested in our kids, our teenagers, to help them to become productive citizens, and even share some stories from our alumni that grew up in the club that are coming back to talk about what an influence that's had on their lives, where they are today, and to really talk to our kids that we have right now about what their future looks like.
Well, over the years, I know that there have been different themes for Boys and Girls Club for each annual direction. And I remember the theme that was "It Just Takes One," because it stood out to me, because I heard from so many kids or so many adults who were once kids who talked about how it just took that one person who was their club director or one of the people that was helping out, or somebody else that was part of the Boys and Girls Club circle, maybe an alumni. One of the things I love about Boys and Girls Club is that I was going to say you promote from within, but that's not really what I'm getting at. Your alumni who go to the club very often end up working for the club once they graduate from school, and that is so cool.
Right now, one of our target areas that GL Homes has also supported us with is our workforce readiness, and we've really come to the realization that we are many teenagers' first jobs. And we are the ones that are shaping their lives. And we're excited about that while they're with us. And we want to make sure that they have the best foundation so that they can go out and be productive in the workforce here in our community.
And especially for teenagers, because teenagers, even when you do have both a mom and dad at home, when you're a teenager, your mom and dad are just stupid. They don't start to get smart till you graduate from college, and because you trust other adults, you trust other peers' opinion more than you do your parents or your caregivers. So Sarah, tell me, how come GL Homes is involved with the Boys and Girls Club? And first of all, GL stands for good luck.
It does, Sue
I
Ellen.
never knew that.
That usually surprises most people.
Yes.
Yes, but that's right. And I'll give you a little history about the company. 43 years ago, when our founder was thinking of what name to give this company, it would either have been HW for hard work or GL for good luck, and GL stuck. So here we are 43 years later, GL Homes.
And both good luck and hard work have helped make GL Homes.
Absolutely.
into-
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, so one of the hardest working people I know is Melanie Wiles, because they have been, the Boys and Girls Clubs has been such a wonderful collaborator with GL to really make a difference in children's lives. And that's really why we as a company want to partner with the Boys and Girls Clubs, because you all make such a huge impact, Melanie, on the lives of thousands of children in St. Lucie County, and we want to be a part of that, and we want to help you. They help children who are in foster care, who are homeless, who come from single-parent households, who may be being raised by a grandparent. There may be crisis situations going on in the home that the child can't control, whether that's drugs, whether that's domestic violence situation. But the Boys and Girls Clubs provides these children with a safe place where they can focus on building character and integrity and working on their academics, tutoring, sportsmanship, just so many facets of becoming a well-rounded person. And so that's why we want to be part of the Boys and Girls Club team.
And there's one thing you can count on. There's no kids, no matter what age, that have better manners than Boys and Girls Club kids.
Absolutely. And that's something that GL Homes has worked on with the Boys and Girls Club. We have paid to provide an etiquette instructor for these
Awesome.
kids. We actually just did that. It was
I
last
didn't know. I
Monday.
was walking right
Look at
into
that. Look at that, Sue Ellen. Thank you for opening that door for me. On President's Day, and we're at the Okeechobee Steakhouse in West Palm Beach. We had an etiquette instructor for the Youth of the Year finalists. Talk to the kids really about soft skills and what it takes to get a job, how to interact in a business setting if someone takes you out for a business lunch. And a lot of these situations, these kids may not be able to experience that at home. Some of them have never set a table. I don't know about you two ladies, but I was required when I was a kid to learn how to set the table, and that's how you learn. And if you don't get that at home, you don't know those skills, right? And so you're starting off at a deficit. And so to be able to give these kids a leg up, we want to work with the Boys and Girls Club to provide that.
Awesome. And there are a lot of programs that you kind of have involvement with, and one of them, as you said, is the etiquette program.
Right.
And that's the other thing that's great about the Boys and Girls Club is, no two kids are alike, and their interests aren't alike.
That's
and
right.
So let's talk a little bit about the Boys and Girls Club programs and how really there's something for every kid.
Well, this year especially, we're investing in some very innovative areas. So our workforce readiness piece has been a treasure for our teens. We take them outside of just doing the typical basketball or whatever sport that they're doing, and we've been able to draw them in and actually work with them on their resume building, on a soft skills program that they interacted with all summer. We've been very fortunate as GL participated in some of the job shadowing.
We did.
One of our club members, Justice, did a shadow of their facility and learned about different engineering aspects. But we also took the kids to a myriad of other businesses here in St. Lucie County that really are looking to make an impression on the upcoming job force and exposing them to new experiences so that they know that there's many opportunities for them, whether that's a trade, whether that's going on to college. The community has something for them, and the club is here to back them on that as well.
Well, this generation of kids that's coming up now that's getting ready to either go to college or go into some type of training program, they're hard workers. They're tremendous workers, and you know, the Boys and Girls Club kids, they have manners, they have a work ethic, they learn about the importance of education, and then when they go and they tour places like GL Homes, they get excited about the different careers they might have.
They do. They get excited about the opportunity, the possibilities, that a door is being opened for them. I know our folks at GL at Riverland, that's where Justice toured. We rolled out the red carpet for him. He saw every aspect of how to build a home, from engineering to construction to our sales office. Look, if Justice, that's a career Justice wants to take, we are very impressed with that young man. We'd love to have him come in and work with us. He would just be a fantastic employee, bright young man, as you said, well-mannered, and he has that ambition, that drive that employers look for.
So what are some of the other programs that GL Homes is involved with the Boys and Girls Club?
Well, Sue Ellen, we'd need another hour, but we'll give you a quick recap. Sure. One of the things we did, one of the components of the capital campaign, the $2.5 million capital campaign that the Boys and Girls Club of St. Lucie County has embarked on, is one of the components is transportation. And at the Steak and Steak dinner back in November of 2019, which really wasn't that long ago, Will Armstead, the CEO, got up in front of several hundred people and said, you know, we really need transportation. We need 5 15-passenger vans to take our youth on college tours, on field trips, whether it's to a museum, whether it's to a theater, actually, art and culture, absolutely, or just to pick them up from their house, because remember this too, we're dealing with kids. Transportation can be a huge barrier. Maybe mom and dad don't have a car. Maybe they take a bus to work. And so they're not going to have the flexibility to pick the child up to go to after-school programming. So there the child sits at the house after being dropped off by the school bus or walking home and can't get to the club.
And the program is just there waiting for him.
Right, right.
And also, even if the family has one car, people today have varying types of shifts, and to be able to, you know, it's a full-time job chauffeuring your kids around.
You better believe it. Right.
Melanie, you're not quite there yet, but boy, when your kids are starting to be involved in the programs, in another couple years when they're all involved in a different program,
you pick and choose.
You're going to go, okay, you're all playing soccer this year.
Right.
It's tough.
Well, to overcome that barrier, when we heard Will Armstead say that we need 5 vans, I called him probably about a couple weeks later, and I said, I have an early Thanksgiving present for you. GL Homes would like to donate one of those vans to you.
Awesome.
So $52,000, which also covered the first year of insurance for the car, for the van. We now have our GL van proudly at the Ken Pruitt Club off of Port St. Lucie Boulevard in Port St. Lucie.
And that's an important aspect, is getting the kids there, or getting the kids where they need to be to get their future education.
Yes.
So that's so exciting that
it is.
That is something you will be able to help with, and like a week after Will asked for it.
Right.
So ask ye and ye shall receive.
Amen, Sue Ellen. Yes.
So let's talk about the event that's coming up, the big anniversary celebration, because you're a big part of that too, and you're helping to, we'll get into more details of the celebration, but Melanie was telling me earlier there's a breakfast, there's a lunch, and there's an evening event.
Yes, there's more. We call it our many layered event.
Yes.
It's like a parfait. Everyone's going to love it.
Okay.
So we have our breakfast in the morning that is specifically targeted for our founders and longtime supporters of Boys and Girls Clubs, so we can share what the past, present, and future has for our kids, and really recognize them for putting the effort in and having that vision 25 years ago to start this amazing organization and involve the community. Thousands and thousands of kids later have benefited from that thought. And then we lead into our lunch, which we're very excited about. We're going to host a lunch for 500 people. Two very special guest speakers. We have Jim Clark, who is the CEO and president of Boys and Girls Clubs of America, that will be coming down.
Wow.
And that's a big deal.
Yeah.
we also have a Boys and Girls Club alumni, Andre Reed, who is a NFL Hall of Famer, that will be there as well, giving some inspirational speech to our audience as well.
That's awesome. So that is the luncheon, and then yet there's more.
Yes. So this takes place on April 24th, which is a Friday, at the Mid-Florida Event Center. And so what we'd like to do is engage all of our families to come. So once school is out, the club is open, and we're actually building a mock clubhouse inside of the Mid-Florida Event Center. And all outside of the facility, we have a kids zone. We have our nonprofit village, which is really showcasing not just Boys and Girls Club, but every other agency and business that has invested in our kids, and that's a part of their life and making them a good citizen. So we realize it's a journey that takes more than Boys and Girls Club. And we're inviting everyone to come out that day so they can contact us and tell us if they want to showcase what they have to offer. Obviously, we'd love to have you there as well.
I think my invitation at the Early Learning Coalition must have got lost.
Yes,
in
this
the mail.
this is your formal invitation. So
don't worry, Sue Ellen. I just got my invitation today too.
Okay.
So we're really excited. The premise is to have 25,000 people out there that day.
Wow.
And share and celebrate. And what we'd like to be able to reveal, and we will be there, is that part of our $2.5 million campaign that will be halfway to our goal, and how the community can propel us to reach that goal, to be able to fulfill our 3 areas, which is transportation, world-class clubs, renovating some of our facilities, and the life-enriching programs that our kids deserve.
And the programs, we were talking just a little bit about the programs and how the programs get kids of all ages ready for the next step in life. So whether you're in elementary school and you're going to an after-school program that's a school-based site, or you're in a teenager and you're going to one of the clubhouses, you're finding sports programs, you're finding hobbies and activities, arts and entertainment programs. As a matter of fact, I was going to ask you, I need a some type of entertainment for the turnaround at the Run for the Donuts that the Early Learning Coalition is doing. And the first agency that I thought of was the Boys and Girls Club, because generally you have like a jazz band, a drum corps, a step team. And at the last event, you had a dance group that was, oh my gosh, have you seen their dance troupe yet?
Impressive, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're like, they could be performing on a main stage somewhere, and they will be probably. These kids, a lot of the kids that you're talking about, especially due to transportation issues, they may not be able to get involved in the typical after-school activities that mom or dad has to drive them around to. But you offer them there.
And what'll be really exciting that day is we want to have all of our club members there. So it's our 25th anniversary. We think of it as our birthday too. We want them to come out and enjoy themselves that day. So we're going to have food trucks, all types of fun activities planned for them and their families.
You won't go hungry.
No. Now, so the event itself, you said, takes place at the Mid-Florida
Event Center.
And just for people who haven't stayed up with the naming of it, that's the former Port St. Lucie Civic Center.
Yes.
So that's the building on Walton Road in US 1. So there's lots of room for you to do stuff in.
Yes, we have the entire interior of the building as well as the exterior. So whether you're outside or inside, you will be entertained, you will learn what it's like to be a club kid, and you will enjoy yourself.
Well, I know that Sarah just has a little bit more time with us. So I wanted to give her a chance to talk about some of their philanthropic activity and why you do what you do.
Thank you. Well, part of the ethos of our company is to give back, and we certainly want to contribute to the St. Lucie County community and Port St. Lucie, where we are building homes at our Riverland project. And Boys and Girls Club was just a natural fit for us. Focus of ours certainly is youth in foster care, aging out of foster care, homeless youth, and you really fill such a vital need in our community for that we want to be able to support you in any way possible.
And you're involved in, many different counties worth.
We are.
You're traveling up here from Palm Beach County today.
I am West Palm Beach born and raised.
You are.
I am.
Yes,
I am.
So you're Floridian.
I am a Floridian, yes, and proud of it.
We
so
were
yes.
talking Tim Tebow earlier.
We
also a
go
Gator?
Gators.
Yes, I'm
Go
a Gator.
Gators. Yes.
Okay. So, when I think, Melanie, you're a Florida native too, aren't you? Yeah, which is kind of unusual to have 3 Florida natives in the same room.
I think it's super. Yeah.
It is. But when you're born and raised here, you kind of feel like you want to give back and make where you're living
Of
even
course.
better than it is. So you do what you can, and you look around and you see the big picture, and you understand that there's a place for you to help wherever you can.
That's right. That's right. We want to give back in our community, and that really is a philosophy at GL Homes. We give back in the communities where we build homes, and we are a Florida company too. So yes.
Born and raised as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. So if people wanted to get in touch with you, Sarah, although I don't want everyone to be calling you and saying, you want to help me too? But if people want to find out more about GL Homes, how do they do that?
glhomes.com. Easy enough.
easy to
Please go to
do.
our website.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's great. Melanie, I know that you have Dawn that's here that's going to be joining us in a little bit. Cliff, when you came in, did you notice if Dawn Krupp was here? Somebody waiting? Yes, she is. Okay, awesome. Because we're going to go into a little bit more detail about the event itself. But we have a couple more minutes, and we want to talk about some of the specific programs that the Boys and Girls Club. And I don't, Melanie, I don't think I've had you on the show since, I know I haven't, since the new Youth of the Year was crowned. So let's talk a little bit about that and the amazing youth who compete each year. I mean, any one of them could be an outstanding Youth of the Year.
We're very proud of Amy De Los Santos, who is our 2020 Youth of the Year. She really has set the vision for our youth of our community and was very instrumental in speaking about her own mental health and how the club helped her through a very hard time in her life and how it brought her out of her shell. And she's wise beyond her years.
She is.
And she, along with our other Youth of the Year candidates, they wrote their essays, they participated in a rigorous panel interview, and then they spoke in front of hundreds of people to be honored and
which
to
is
pick.
something a lot of adults can't do.
And remember this too, which is even more impressive. I'd like your audience to know this. These young people got up in front of hundreds of adults, hundreds of strangers, and gave a memorized speech. There were no notes. There was no podium to hide behind. They had to practice this speech for, I'm sure, weeks, and they didn't miss a beat.
Not only that, but think about this. Sometimes it's easier to get up in front of people and talk about something that's not personal because then you're not exposing yourself.
Right.
These young people stood up and exposed themselves by telling stories of things that meant a lot to them. And some of the subjects of the essays have been just the times that I've attended Youth of the Year, I've never left without crying.
Right.
Well, the kids really put a lot into it. They share their story, and Amy is one of those amazing kids that she's invested in the medical field as her future. As part of her participating in the program, GL actually rewarded her with a $5,000 scholarship towards her education.
So great.
We did.
We're very excited for that and what
Sarah,
that's
you're
be
the
for
woman.
them.
Well, we are very excited about their futures. I mean, these are some impressive young people. Hope for the future. These are some great young people.
You're listening to the Sue Ellen Sanders Show. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more. Sarah also has been with us with GL Homes. She's Director of Community Relations. And Melanie Wiles, who will continue with us when we add Dawn Krupp to the show. Thanks again, Sarah, for taking the time to be here.
Thank you, Sue Ellen.
And now back to the Sue Ellen Sanders Show.
Welcome back to the Sue Ellen Sanders Show, and we were just talking to Sarah from GL Homes about some of their involvement with the Boys and Girls Club of St. Lucie County. And Melanie Wiles is still here with us. She is the Chief Operating Officer, which basically means she organizes everything and everybody and is answerable to everything and everybody. Right? That's kind of what
absolutely.
it is, yeah. And Dawn Knupp is also with us, and she is in charge of special events for the Boys and Girls Club. And we just touched on the special event to end all special events that's coming up on Friday, April 24th. You know, when I first saw the announcement about Friday, I'm like, Friday? That's a work day. How do you expect anyone to be a part of it? And Melanie has given me a little bit of information about the Founders Breakfast, and so that's a select group. Now, as a former board member, do I get an invitation to that?
Yes, you are formally invited to the Founders Breakfast,
I do.
and we will be inviting all of our founders and past board members
That's
so
really
that
cool.
everyone can have a nice reunion that morning.
Yeah, that'll be really neat. And then the luncheon is for 500 of your closest friends.
Absolutely. The luncheon is to really bring a lot of our supporters to the table and have them invite new people that may not know about Boys and Girls Club, or maybe some people that said, well, I don't know that much about what they do. Let me come check it out and really be inspired at this luncheon.
But what is really exciting, and I want to pick Dawn's brain on, is this whole idea of having the clubhouse within the event. Let's talk about that. What are you going to do? I mean, you're used to building stuff at the Chili Cook-Off inside the Fenn Center, but this is a different location, and you're going to build a clubhouse?
We are. We're going to have a mock clubhouse, and we're going to be able to bring in all aspects of our regular clubhouses into the Civic Center, into the Mid-Florida Event Center, so that people can really actually see what we do in a clubhouse on our day-to-day basis.
And you're going to have the club kids there, too.
We are.
So not only are you going to have the mock clubhouse, but you're going to have the real club kids.
The real club kids.
So you'll get a great feel for everything that you're going to be doing. And then Melanie touched a little bit about the different agencies that were also going to be invited to be a part of it, so they could, you know, because there's not one organization, social service organization in St. Lucie County or the Treasure Coast that can take care of everybody's needs. So it's kind of nice to show that continuum of services.
Right. And so did she let you know what it was called?
No.
We're calling it the Village.
Oh, did you tell me that? You might have. I didn't remember if she told me.
It takes a village to make Boys
Yeah.
and Girls Clubs work. So we're asking all of our partners to come and to participate in this day, to be a vendor, to be able to bring a family or a kid-friendly activity to the event, so the kids will have something to do, and just to showcase our partners and who supports us here at the Boys and Girls Clubs.
Kind of like what we do at Kid Mania and the Family Fun Fair, only on a larger scale.
Exactly.
So all the social service agencies and the different people who help kids or help families, because sometimes the social service agencies are helping a different segment of the population, but they still might address the same, like it may be somebody's grandma or grandpa, so you might want the office of the, what's it called, the area of aging there, or somebody like that, mustard seed, all the different social service agencies that help and partner with you can be a part of it, and they can find out everything that everybody does. And
Exactly.
And what kind of, you always have themes for everything. Dawn, you're like the theme lady. So your theme is kind of like, she's like, what? I don't have a theme for this one. Melanie's already told me that your theme is kind of like 25th anniversary. So,
Okay.
what do you think? So what are we going to, should we decorate our tables with a particular theme? Or?
That's something we actually haven't thought of, but that's a great idea. And I'll be holding my next committee meeting next week, and I do believe I'll be addressing that with them and seeing how we can go think outside the box and decorate those booths to represent the past 25 years that we've been in the county.
I vote for superheroes because I have a great Superman cape. So you got to go in a direction you can go in. And,
Right.
And you have some superheroes that are coming that day at lunch to talk. So one of them, the CEO of Boys and Girls Club for all of America, he's coming to talk about the mission of the Boys and Girls Club. And then the other person, the alumni, the football guy.
Andre
I don't remember
Reed.
his name. Thank you. I don't know all football guys. So, my knowledge of football guys really begins and ends with my favorite baseball guy too, and you know who that is.
Well, we actually have 4 honorary chairs that we're going to be recognizing that day as well.
You're talking about people.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Not just chairs, they're people. And we're really.
But the people will sit in chairs.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they're going to be out and about in the next couple of weeks talking about Boys and Girls Club, talking about our anniversary. One is the police chief, John Bolduc. The other is Larry Lee Jr.
Yeah.
We also have Gail Harrell, and we also have Dr. Donna Mills. So we're really excited for them to share their stories about being involved with Boys and Girls Club, being involved in the youth of this community and what they need, and how we're all playing a role in fulfilling that role to make them successful in the future.
And Larry's got stuff that he's been working on behind the scenes, because I know he's been talking to my husband about his plans for a project that involves the Boys and Girls Club that's going to be coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really exciting. He's always got something up his sleeve.
Yes, we'll be very excited for that.
So and we'll get to hear from all of them and their chairs.
Mm-hmm. And the chair. We will give them a chair too.
And then, it takes a village. So a village is going to show up, the numbers Melanie was talking about, where are you going to put everybody?
You have to remember it's an all-day event, so
Okay.
these people aren't all
Okay.
going to be there at
At
the
the
same
same
time.
time.
They're going to be
Okay.
filtering in
Yeah.
and out, so I
Okay.
think it's a little more doable that way.
Okay, well, that kind of makes sense. What else do we need to know?
Oh, we are going to have a telethon happening that day as
Oh,
well. So
that's new.
So if it's not enough that we're going to try to squeeze 25,000 people at the facility, we know we'll be able to reach them remotely through the telethon.
Dialing for dollars kind of thing.
Yes, and having some special guest speakers to speak to the people that are calling in. So we're really excited about that. That's the first time we've done something to that effect. So stay tuned to what that will look like. Maybe you can be one of our guests that will answer the phone at some point.
I'm good at talking. That's great. What are other things that we need to know if we want to take part? I mean, is there a charge for? I mean, you have 3 different events, so is everything free or is some of it invitation only? The breakfast is invitation only. Yes.
The breakfast, actually, everything is open to the public. We do have special invitations going out for each piece. The breakfast, I believe, is going to be about $25 to attend. Our lunch is $50. The rest of the events are really free and open to the whole public. However, we do ask that they register to attend. So, for example, if you would like to come in the afternoon to hear Andre Reed speak, then we'd ask for you to register on our website. If you would like to go to the lunch, we would ask you to register. So we have different opportunities on the website for whichever piece of the event you would like to attend.
Okay, and then so you're funneling everything through the website. So people are going to go onto the website to RSVP and they can find out more and get information. Are you still looking for sponsors and other people to get involved?
Yes, absolutely.
I had a feeling your answer was going to be that.
Yes, and anybody that would like to reach out, they can surely contact me at dnupp, KNUPP, at bgcofslc.org.
And you can also find her smiling face on the website.
Absolutely.
You can probably get a lot of information. Are you going to do like 3 different Facebook events too?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so you can probably, if you're somebody who is just, instead of going to the website, you like to just do your homework on Facebook instead, you can find the information on Facebook.
And we may see a past picture of Sue Ellen on Facebook. You'll have to stay tuned because we will be sprinkling historical facts and pictures all over our Facebook page leading up to the event.
Anything that I particularly dressed up in. So I have a history with Boys and Girls Club in that I was a board member and I was a vice president of something, and then I started working there for a couple of years when my kids were in middle school, and since then I've just really been a volunteer. I've been on the outskirts, being able to work with you all since I've been at the Early Learning Coalition. Of course, a lot of our children that receive funds from the Early Learning Coalition use it to attend Boys and Girls Club summer programs. And that's important that, because we don't supply the locations at all for the kids. We need to know that it's an organization that we can count on, that they're going to be treated right, and that the money that goes to it is going to be spent correctly. So it's good to know that the Boys and Girls Club is here and around. I've also had an opportunity to watch the growth of the performing arts programs, the other programs. Some programs, they come and they go depending on what the kids' interests are. I know you had a sewing program for a while where the kids were doing sewing.
Yes, we try to really gauge what the kids' wants and needs are and develop things based on areas of their interest, and then sprinkling it in with our Boys and Girls Clubs of America tried and true programming that we know will reach the exact outcomes that we're looking for the kids. So it's been really fun to try new things. I mean, we have Lego robotics in some of our clubs right now. They're doing culinary pieces.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah, anything. Yeah. Our motto right now for this campaign is whatever it takes to build great futures. And I'm very fortunate to have an amazing team of staff that really do whatever it takes to build great futures. They're innovative. They look for any way to engage our kids. They look for, as Sarah had mentioned previously, when kids are in a particular circumstance where, their families are going through something like maybe they're homeless, it's how we rally around them and their family to get them every resource they need to be successful, and make sure that we have that ongoing staff that has a good relationship with them and that safe place that they know they can come to every day, even if something else is going on in their lives that's inconsistent or not, providing that place for them.
And I recall something about a past Youth of the Year winner, and I think you were here with her that day. We discovered, talking to her on the show, that because her name wasn't, her birth certificate didn't show her name correctly, she wasn't able to get a driver's license.
That was Claudia,
Okay,
and I remember
okay,
her.
remember that?
She may be at our anniversary as well. I've been reaching out.
During that show. I cried while we were doing the show.
Yeah, Claudia, she was in foster care, and at that time she was to age out, and she didn't know what the next step was for her, and so we did help her to find her driver's license, because we wanted her to be able to go, I think it was to Tallahassee, and she couldn't get on a plane because of it. But in any case, everyone rallied around her to find where she was going to live next, and who was going to support her as she completed school. I believe that she went into the social work field, and I'm excited for her to come back.
I would love to see her again. That's really cool.
Yeah. She should be there that day, so we're excited.
And the number of young people you have that go on to school, to college, and then come back and then work with the Boys and Girls Club, or during the summers when they're home from college, work with the Boys and Girls Club, just to stay active in it, because the clubs, and when I say the clubs, I mean both the clubhouse locations and the school locations. The whole idea is kids like to belong, and it's not an age-related thing. At whatever age, actually, you think about it, we're grown-ups and we still like to belong. We're still joining clubs. And the important thing is to have the clubs that are offering something positive.
One thing that is really exciting that we've been able to partner with St. Lucie Public Schools on is the social emotional learning piece. And so when you think about that, our staff is being trained in that, and trauma-informed care. And when you talk about, sometimes this is somebody's first job. So whether you're on the end of receiving that as a club member of the staff that cares and that's involving you in different ways, or whether you're a staff member that's being trained in the intricacies of a child's mind and the trauma they may have experienced, I mean, what a great experience to have, to be ahead of the curve, to be able to impact somebody's life. And it's more than babysitting. I mean, you really are learning about the ins and outs of a child and how you can really project them into a different path.
And when you're training your staff in those methods of being able to help kids, they are, like you said, secondhand getting it and understanding how it applies to their life too, because those ways of coping, the trauma-informed care, and do you do conscious discipline too?
We've really been fortunate to work with Tykeson Teens as one of our partners that's been teaching us a myriad, and part of it is teaching our staff self-care as well, because as they're working with kids every day, just giving them the wherewithal to look back and see how they could be taking care of themselves, how they can make a bigger impact on other people's lives if they can have that other perspective.
That's awesome. So it's kind of like everybody takes care of everybody. Yeah. So let's get back to the main event, otherwise known as the special event to end all special events. What are you going to do for 50 years? Are you are you still going to be there, Melanie?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Think about it. 25 years from now, your baby is going to be 25.
Yes, that's right.
And she might be working for Boys and Girls Club.
Yes, I would be more than happy if my kids work for Boys and Girls Club. I actually tease them and I say that, I talk about, what's your first job going to be? Which clubhouse do you want to work at? Because I think that's the best way to learn about what our community is made of and how they can really play a role in changing a child's life.
Dawn, you're kind of one of the newbies, although you've been there for the last time you were on the show with me. I think you had only been there for a few months. And
Correct.
So now it's a year.
Mm-hmm.
When was your
Back
year?
in November.
Yeah, yeah. So you're a pro. So you have other special events that you do have coming up. When I say the event to end all events, it does not mean that the Boys and Girls Club is not going to have other events.
Correct.
And as a matter of fact, you have a fishing tournament that's right around the corner.
April 4th.
Yeah, so it's coming up even before this. And you're probably looking at Melanie going, oh, you want me to talk about something at the end of April when I still have all this thing on my plate for the fishing frenzy? And how can people get involved with that?
Once again, they can either email me or they can call me. Definitely, we have something new set up as well where they can go online and get the information. There is the website, but they can go on to bgcslc.rock/fishing.
Okay.
They can do everything online. They can make their payment and everything right online now. So we've tried to make it a little bit easier for people that want to participate.
So the fishing frenzy is for people to raise money. It's not just so it's not for your club kids to go fishing.
Well,
although
no,
that's part
no,
of it.
The kids do get to go out on a charter boat. We take about 50 kids out on a charter boat, and they get to learn how to fish and spend that experience out on the water that day.
But you also have this fishing tournament
Correct.
that involves other people that are not club kids.
Correct. It's for there's a bunch of people that'll be fishing both our inshore and our offshore tournament.
And the winners of those tournaments, they get big prizes.
They do.
They
There's
do.
cash prizes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're somebody who's into fishing, this is a really good opportunity for you to get involved. And then also your entry fees, are going to the Boys and Girls Club, so you're
Correct.
making a difference with the kids.
Right.
And then not far down the road, we have in July the chili cook-off.
The
38th chili cook-off.
Correct.
So that is going to be, is it middle of July?
It's
When is-
July 11th.
July 11th.
Mhm.
And that's going to take place at the Habert Fen Center again.
It is.
I'm assuming. I'm
Yes,
making the assumption
It
there.
is.
And then this is an opportunity for people to get involved with teams. And you're always looking for more teams, I know.
We're always looking for new teams. Absolutely.
Yeah. So whether you're with the Sheriff's Department or whether you're another nonprofit or you're a chiropractor, there's a place for you, and it's at the chili cook-off.
Absolutely.
But, back to the event to end all events. The 25th anniversary celebration, there's a place for you there, too.
We will have something for everybody that day. So any age, any time of day you want to come, we'll be able to host you, share with you what our Boys and Girls Clubs experience every day.
Well, you know what? I just remembered something else I've been meaning to talk to you about, and that is flag football. Because that was something that was kind of new for the Boys and Girls Club this year. So who can talk about flag football?
I can tell you a little bit about it because actually my son was a member of Boys and Girls Club's flag football team this year, and it really brought him out of his shell. So we were able to have 4 flag football teams.
Child of yours is in a shell.
Yes, yes, believe it or not.
Amazing.
It was really amazing. We had, over the summer, we had 4 different teams that were competing and playing each other, and it was all about good sportsmanship. Each Saturday they had a game and they practiced during the week. We had volunteer coaches come out, and it was amazing to see these kids develop so quickly in just a couple of weeks. And I know many of them have gone on to play other sports with us or gone to play flag football other places as well. So we're hoping to host that again because they really enjoyed themselves. And they played the culminating game at the big stadium in Fort Pierce.
Ooh, how exciting is that? And flag football, that's the kind of football that mothers don't stress about. Yes. Yes. The only problem is flag football is kind of an entryway to the real thing. So now does your son want to play regular football, or is he
He
happy
actually
with
just
flag?
likes flag football, so
Okay,
that's what
yeah,
he's going to keep
yeah.
playing, and he's done a couple times already. But the kids, this is that sport has actually segued to us doing a really cool basketball league as well.
Flag basketball?
It's not, but you know what? There's something very interesting about it, because this was specifically for young gentlemen that typically wouldn't be able to play basketball in a school setting. Maybe they didn't have access to the sport if there was a fee, or maybe they didn't have access because of their grades. But the premise was it got them off the street in the club playing basketball, and in order to play on our league, they had to participate in tutoring and our workforce development program.
Oh, so there was an incentive for them
Yes.
to get to play. And then actually between this tutoring and the workforce development program, maybe by the time they start school again the following year, they'll be able to academically make the team. Because I remember a couple of years when I was teaching high school, I had some young men who really, really wanted to play basketball but couldn't because their grades weren't good enough for it. It's kind of a revolving door there, because your grades aren't good enough, and then you don't want to come to school because you don't have anything that excites you, and then so you don't come to school, and then your grades get worse instead of getting better. So it's nice that
Yes, we want to afford them the opportunity and that exposure, because you never know what will be the turning point. And we do actually have our Youth of the Year. One of our Youth of the Years from our Fort Pierce Club, Percy Peak, he talked about how, you know, the club has been that turning point for him, because he doesn't have the grades, and we're actually helping him to get where he wants to be as far as his credit recovery. But he's trying really hard, and we want to try very hard and do whatever it takes to have the programming that will keep bringing him in the door.
You know, not everybody is academically gifted. And, you know, there may be some part of academics that they're just turning off on, that they're not comfortable with. And as long as you can get them to the point where they're passing and graduating, however you do it, you know, whether you do it through tutoring, whether you do it through workforce development, whether you do it through attracting them to programs like basketball. Now, this is going back a little bit too, but one year, I remember being at the Boys and Girls Club right after the basketball gym was completed on Avenue D, and there was a basketball team that had won a national championship.
We're working hard to get to that place again. We actually have, our team is called the Pioneers right now, and this year they were actually able to play Boys and Girls Clubs in Indian River County and Boys and Girls Clubs in Martin County, as well as several other youth development agencies here in St. Lucie. And they did a really bang-up job, so maybe next year we'll get to that status.
To that exciting status. And, you know, a lot of times you as a parent or a caregiver might not understand why your child doesn't get excited about the same things you do, but whatever makes them be excited about waking up in the morning and trying and making an effort to make each day a better day, that's the important thing.
Absolutely.
So then that's why the Boys and Girls Club has so many programs, that there's something for everything. So Dawn Knupp has been my guest today for the second half of the show, along with Melanie Wiles from the Boys and Girls Club of St. Lucie County. The event, To End All Events, which isn't really its name, the 25th anniversary celebration with the Boys and Girls Club, takes place on Friday, April 24th, and you can find out all the information on their website and online. Thanks for listening to the show. We'll see you next time with more.
Archives of the Sue Ellen Sanders Show are on YouTube. Follow WPSL TV on YouTube, and be sure to like and share this show on Facebook.